everyone. My name is Deanna and I'm a surface pattern designer. And today I want to share with you my design inspiration process, and specifically as it relates to when I create pattern collections. If you follow me or know any of my work, I typically create one-off patterns or hero patterns, and I will create them in several colorways, which will end up on wallpaper, gift wrap, and some wall art sometimes, occasionally on fabric. But this is what I want to show you today, is when I know I'm going to make a collection of patterns, things that are related to each other. I typically do this around Christmas time. I like to make a Christmas collection that ends up on wallpaper, ends up on gift wrap. So that will be the example that I'm going to show you today, is my most recent Christmas collection that I created back in this past year in 2022. So before we begin, I just wanted to say too that this system will work with no matter what type of product you want to pitch to or create for. I learned it from my creative mentor, Bonnie Christine, and she's a fabric designer. And so this is really good for fabric, obviously, because I learned it from her. It could also work for stationery or any other type of home decor line where they need a cohesive collection created. So I just did want to mention that. So let's start with how we gather inspiration, or how you record it, or how you collect it, I guess would be a better way to say it. And the first way would be brainstorming. You want to do a collection, and you're not sure what you want to do, or maybe you just have ideas that come into your head from time to time. Brainstorm, put them in a book. I have a book, it says pattern ideas on it. If you don't want to use a notebook, you can put them on your phone. Put them in your notes, create a folder, type them in your phone. Another great way is taking photos. You always have your phone with you. You can take photos with your phone wherever you go. I have an album I created so they don't get all mixed up and everything. So I'll take a picture, I'll put it in my inspiration album, and that way I have it there. Say, for example, you want to, do a coastal pattern collection, and you can't get to the beach or to the climate or the area to take the photos. What do, right? I like to use Pinterest or Google in those instances, and I will look for inspiration, not other patterns, inspiration, that I will use in my mood board, which I'm going to show you today, which is part of my process. A lot of times what I will do is I'll just copy and paste the image and put it directly into my mood board. If you're not quite at that stage yet, or that step yet, make a Pinterest board of inspiration so that you have it. And you can use Pinterest boards for color palettes. Say there's different color palettes you come across in Pinterest that you like. Make a board for that so that you can refer back to it when you're looking for different color palettes. Same thing with Google. If you're looking for a color palette, you can save those to a Pinterest board. So Pinterest is a really, really good tool when you're trying to design. Another way of gathering inspiration for your collection is experiences, stories in your life. It could come from your kids, with a loved one, vacations you take. Those are all great places to gather inspiration and stories for your collections. If you're not quite sure what I'm referring to, let me give you an example. I have a collection called Tea Box Collection. That is created from my mother's tea box. My mom and I at one time were really into teas, and she had a tea box. In fact, a tea store, like restaurant where you could get the little sandwiches and teas and stuff like that, opened near her home, and we used to try and go there as often as we could. I have a lot of wonderful memories of conversations and time together with my mom around tea and her tea box. So I created a pattern collection called the Tea Box Collection, centered around the tea box and different teas, all because of the experience I have with my mom. So there's one way of getting inspiration from a story, or you can even create the story and use that in your pitch when you are pitching your collection to different manufacturers as well. So here, let's get to the mood board. Like I said, I'm going to use my Christmas 2022 as an example. I do pretty much everything in Illustrator. This is my mood board template. This is what it looks like when I'm not doing anything. Christmas 2022, I got the color palette first, and that's what I use this box down here for, is for the color palette. And these are the colors that I used. I like making the boxes, filling them in. This is also a good tool, so when you open another tab to create a drawing, you can highlight all of these, copy and paste it into the new document. You could even save the swatches, so as you go from pattern to pattern, you have it. You could even make it persistent if you wanted to. This side of the mood board is the actual mood board itself. So this one is my Christmas 2022 design mood board. I will even use a different font to kind of get me in the spirit of things, and name my mood board. The other thing, remember I was telling you about the Pinterest just copying and pasting directly into the mood board. That's what I did in this instance. These are just, again, they reflect the colors that I had picked. I knew I wanted circles. I knew I wanted, this magnolia. I love eucalyptus. I do a lot of patterns with different eucalyptus. I even draw them by hand. So I have the eucalyptus in there, and the gold and the colors and just the green. It really spoke to me, and that's what I was going for. The next thing I did, and sometimes this is the first thing I do, is there's a technique called 20 words. In my instance here, you'll see I have only 13. I learned this from my creative mentor, Bonnie Christine. She is a fabric designer. And what you do, you write down 20 words that are inspiring or related, excuse me, to the collection that you want to create. So here I have 13. I didn't come up with quite 20, but I have done 20. There are some collections I've done more than 20. But these are really good. These are great for when you need to name a pattern. So you're struggling to come up with a name of a design. You can draw and get inspiration from your list of words. The next thing I like to do is put on my mood board my colors. Even though I have this color palette here, I still like to type and put on the mood board the colors. I don't know, that's just me. Sometimes I don't have the palette yet, so that usually helps me find the palette that I'm looking for as well. Then the next thing I like to do is envision what I'm creating the designs for. Am I creating it for fabric, stationery, home decor, wall art, wallpaper? What am I creating it for, right? So in this instance, I knew it was going to be wrapping paper, and then I wanted to also create it for ribbon. So I'll put the products, on there that I wanted to do. The ribbon didn't work out like I had hoped, but the wrapping paper did. My designs ended up on wrapping paper. So the next board on this side is where I will put all my little elements, or they call them assets now. And let me see here. Oop, sorry. Let's try that again. There we go. The different drawings I've done. Let me back up a little bit. they're calling these assets now. So if you're in the Adobe Creative Cloud, they will call, instead of elements, they call them assets. I still call them elements. I'm starting to call them assets. But anyway, these are the things that you will use in your designs. Maybe these are things you've already created before. This is kind of another inspiration area for you. Here's these leaves with the berries on them. I had berries over here. I think this one and this one I got from a tree or a bush at the end of my driveway. I had the picture in my phone's inspiration album for a long time, and I finally am using it here. These are different trees that I drew. If you notice, trees over here was the first thing. I have pine cones that I had drawn, which is also on my list. Let's see what else. Oh, the snowflakes are on my list. I have some stars, different shaped stars that I made into other things. So these are just some of the elements that are here that I already had or that I created. And so I will put them there. And then I'll even create more as I get into it. So that's how I do my mood board now. If this is a little too much and you want something a little simpler, here's a mood board from a long time ago, the way I used to do them. These are photographs of flowers from my old house, and these are just colors that I liked, that I put down all of them. I didn't use all of them, but I liked all of them. And then Heirloom, for some reason, spoke to me in my head, and that's what I used to name this design that I ended up coming up with. So from that mood board, I created this design called Heirloom Floral, and here's a more condensed, smaller version of the design. And that all came from this right here. Like I said, I just looked at that flower and I thought heirloom. I don't know why. So going back to my Christmas 2022, now I want to show you the actual product and the end result. So first I'm going to show you the samples. So I got samples of all my wrapping paper, and this is what it looked like when it came in underneath are all the other designs. So here I'm going to show you the designs on the products. This is that berry and leaf one from the bush at the end of my driveway. I really like how that one turned out. And then this is a eucalyptus I did in silhouette. I also made it in like a green color right here. I like how that one turned out. Now, mind you, I promoted this, or it was, I want to say promoted. I put this out as Christmas paper. Christmas doesn't have to be, ornaments and what else? Candy canes and stuff like that. You can use a lot of different designs for a Christmas season or a Christmas gift wrap. People have been very, very creative lately with their wrapping paper designs during the holiday season. So I just did want to mention that. And then here's the magnolia. I also did that one in a green. I really like how this one turned out as well. That one would look really cool with a red bow, actually. And then, oh my gosh, I love, love, love how this one turned out. I love this blue. If you've seen my work, I use a lot of blue like this. I was really, really excited how this one turned out, the pine cone. So a lot of these, keep an eye out. I think they're gonna end up on wallpaper. So just to let you know. So that's my process, and I just want to kind of recap. I went over about gathering ideas and inspiration, how it's everywhere. I showed you a couple different mood boards. I showed you my color palettes. I talked to you about the 20 words, follow Bonnie Christine if you don't already follow her. She's a wonderful pattern designer. She has a great group of colleagues in the industry. I learned so much from her and them. I really highly recommend that you follow her if you don't. I also talked about envisioning what product, the end product that you wanted your design on, and the results. I showed you what the end result looks like. So I'd like to leave you with a few things, a few takeaways, some things to remember. Create what's on your heart. Don't try and force it. If you try and force something that just doesn't feel natural, you're not going to be happy with what you create in the end. I've been there, I've tried. Also, start where it feels natural. Don't think that when you do a design that you have to start with a sketch, or you have to start with your color palette, or you have to start with a theme even. Start where it feels natural. If you're all of a sudden a theme comes in your head, like the zoo animals or coastal or whatever, great, start there. Write a page in your book or in your notes on your mood board. Start there. And it's different. It can be different every time. It doesn't matter. Just start where it feels natural. Also, inspiration comes from anywhere. Just be open your mind. You could be out when you least expect it and be inspired by something. And when you are, make a note of it, and remember it and use it. And most importantly, if you learn anything, or I can leave you with anything from all of this, there is no right or wrong way when you're creating your collection. There is no right way to start. There's no wrong way to do it. If it feels right to you and it works for you, then that's the right way for you. Okay? So I want to thank you, and I want to see what you create. Please tag me at Designs by DVA. Oh, and before I forget, if you want the mood board template that I have in Illustrator, there's a link in my description below the video. Just click on it. I don't know, you've got to fill something in, and you'll either get a link right away or it gets emailed to you. I can't remember, but it's yours for free if you want it, and if that helps. So I want to thank you again. Tag me in your designs. I want to see what you make, okay? And you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time.